Another week. Tough week last week. Well, last week going 1-3. The good news is me and Deuce are not in protocol right now, unlike the rest of the NFL. How you doing?
I probably should be in protocols, to be honest. Got a sniffle. I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not doing any of that, so I'm here.
Well, I'm triple.
Pleasure.
I'm triple mask, so we should be good. Um,
Stop spread. Well, 14 days I've read is what you just need to do to slow the spread, and then we're all out of this. We're out of the woods.
we'll go through the games. We'll throw out our likes, but as we've seen all week, anything can change within a minute. We may have breaking news as we're going through this. As we're discussing pregame here, seems like some teams want games moved, some teams want things thrown out. So anything could happen in the next hour.
Yeah, I have the ticker in front of me. Stuff's happening right now. It looks like what you just said. Teams are fighting sort of against each other to have games moved, not moved. Players are trying to get tests thrown out. So we'll give our likes. I think there's going to be a lot of them, but huge asterisks next to all of them because who the hell knows what's going on in the world.
Yeah, as I mentioned, 1-3 last week. 11 favorites covered. Joe Public cleaned up last week.
Yeah. One of
It
those weeks
was
it happens. It happens every year, and it's happened twice this year. But
it was
what it is.
a wild week though. The Cleveland up 24-6, blow that cover. Tampa Bay, Buffalo, that one could have went either way. Same thing with Cincinnati, San Fran. Yeah, so you could have been on all kinds of different sides last week. Takeaway from last night. I thought last night was one of the more enjoyable NFL games I've seen in a long time.
I will be perfectly honest. I think with 10 and a half minutes in the third quarter, my shoulder hit my chin in the old chair. So didn't see a ton of the second half. But the first half, I thought Mahomes looked really good. Kelsey was. It was almost like they were forcing him the ball, and I don't know what happened after the bye week, but they finally made a concerted effort to get Tyreek Hill more involved. I know he had a ton of drops first 10 weeks, but he's just such a mismatch. It sort of gets the offense on a rhythm, gets it going down the track. I don't know what to say about the Chargers, man. I feel like we talk about it every week, every year. It's always the same thing. I honestly don't know what to say. It's like they have so much talent, they're really good, and they make the dumbest mistakes when it matters the most.
I was thinking the same thing, that I don't know if I would want to play them in the playoffs
Right.
because they have the players and the talent to go out and make a run, or they could be a pushover in round one.
Yeah, it's just if you. I think if you have a really good coach, like if you're Andy Reid, if you're Belichick, if you're someone like that, I wouldn't feel terrible playing with them. I feel like you have an advantage, but there's just so much talent they could beat you on any given day, like you said.
I thought it was a very good win for Kansas City going on the road.
Yeah,
Mahomes played well in the first half, struggled in the second half a little bit. Definitely throws that he normally makes that he did not make. But to
yeah,
go there and win without Chris Jones, who's the anchor in the middle of that defensive line, I thought it was one of the better wins this year.
yeah. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week. Now, no one really has a ton of good wins, but I totally agree. Good win on the road in division puts them really in a great spot division-wise. But, it's not like the Chargers have a great home field, but still going on the road this time of year, a win's a win almost anywhere.
Not only that, I think it puts them in the driver's seat for the one seed, which
Yeah.
would be huge getting the bye, obviously, but then having teams come to Arrowhead.
The To that point, that 18-1 we discussed 2 or 3 weeks ago, looking pretty tasty to win the AFC.
Absolutely.
It's got to be down to like 2-1 now, I would think.
Yeah, I would think they're the favorites now with the Titans having the injuries they do. Patriots have a tough 3 out of their 4 games are pretty tough. Yeah, and the Ravens are a shell of themselves right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember which book that was. It was DraftKings or FanDuel when we looked it up, but they hung a number, and I'm sure some people gobbled it up.
Well, let's go to this week. Two Saturday games if they're played. We start in Cleveland, where this is one of the games being discussed. The Raiders are currently 3.5 point favorites. I don't even know who's quarterbacking for the Browns at this point.
Well, breaking news. This is Schefter 1 minute ago. Raiders at Browns will now be played Monday night at 5 p.m.
Okay.
So, to be honest, great time slot given that most of America kind of takes work easy next week.
Absolutely.
5 p.m. Monday could be a special time. To your point, that clearly gives Keenum and Baker some time to both test negative. I think that is probably, just odds-wise, I think one of them probably does get the all clear. And if it's Keenum, then it sort of changes my opinion. I kind of like the Browns catching the full 3. Obviously, that line won't be available, but it's just kind of fluid. I don't know if Vegas is going to take all these numbers off the board, but right now, I would try to grab Browns +3.
I agree, and I agreed with your comment on Keenum. I was hoping he was going to be the guy because Baker has not looked healthy for a month now.
No, and I tore my labrum years and years ago. Apparently, his is pretty bad, and he has a rotator cuff issue on his. It's non-throwing, but still tough to take hits all game long. He's got a foot issue. I don't know what that's about, but I'm sort of surprised they've gone this long not putting him on the shelf.
If it's Keenum, where do you think this line goes? Does it drop under 3?
Yeah, I think it gets close to pick him. I just, regardless of the Browns QB situation, if we're putting the Raiders in a vacuum, how have they? I mean, I read that they might try to get a look at Mariota. I don't really know how true that is, but I just feel like this is a team, if someone's going to quit at the end of the year, it sort of feels like it's this Raiders team.
Yeah, with that division and so many teams lumped up in the wild card, it seems like there's too many teams for them to jump. So I agree with you. I could see them quitting.
I can't remember what the actual number was, but I think if they win this game, their playoff chances are still only like 13%. So not a ton of hope in that locker room.
I agree with you. If it's Keenum, I like the Browns.
Yeah, and let's just say you're rolling the dice. If you like either Baker or Keenum, like right now is the time to get that 3, because if either one of them are playing, I see this number close to 1 or pick them.
As we move on to the next one, DraftKings has taken it off the board.
We're going to probably be on this for an hour, but I would assume in this hour you see almost all the games go off the board with what's going on right now.
Saturday night, a good one. We've gone back and forth on this a bit. Indianapolis, 2.5 point favorites against the New England Patriots. I will give you the floor first.
I was hoping this was going to be, really a 20-minute conversation of contentiousness and fighting, but I think I've actually totally flipped. And I'm with you on the Colts. Damian Harris was just rolled out 10 minutes ago, so who I think is by far the best Pats running back is out. I would assume it's a split carry situation with Bolden and the rookie Ramondre Stevenson, who's been good, but Harris has got a lot more pop to his step. So I think that's a pretty big loss. And I know you love the Colts much more than I do. I'm just sort of flabbergasted at the line movement. Neither team played last week. Pats were look ahead -2.5, and now no snaps for either team, and now the Colts are 2.5 favorites. So basically 5.5 point swing. Just you don't see that very much.
You know where I stand. I really like this Colts team even prior to this week. I think Taylor's going to have an enormous day on the ground. This game may be a touchdown game, but I think Indianapolis dominates both sides of the ball. I texted to you in Tundra. This is one of my favorite picks of my life.
I I totally see your angle where Pats are going to get some public money. Colts aren't really a named team now that Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck aren't there. So I totally get that line. I'm with you. We can ride with the Colts. I do have a couple of questions. If you like the Colts, do you like the over? Because I think if the Colts win, they're going to put up some points.
Over under on this game is.
I think it's like 44 and a half or 45.
45 and a half. I like the under because I think Belichick is going to try to run the ball similar to what they did against Buffalo, probably not to that extent.
Interesting.
And I think Indianapolis is going to try to establish Taylor.
Colts D, third against the run, not as good against the pass.
We all know that Belichick likes to take away something. What do you think he'll try to take?
Question. That was going to be my next question. If he sells out to take away Taylor, is Wentz good enough to beat them? Beat them in a straight-up secondary that's been really good this year.
Is he good enough? Yes. The issue I would have would be, does Reich completely abandon the run, as we saw he did against Tampa?
That's a great point.
That's my only worry for this game. Would be the abandonment of the run.
That's a great point. I would, if we're talking about it, I am sure Bill Belichick knows that. That's going to happen.
But if I'm going down, I'm going to go down with my guy Carson Wentz.
Colts official.
As I was about to introduce Eagles Washington, it looks like this game might be moved as well.
Looks like Tuesday. Eagles are trying to fight that, but it seems pretty clear that this one's going to be on Tuesday, which is kind of a huge boner to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Absolutely. This line opened at 4. As we were talking, it's 12.5. Where does it go from here? Assuming some of these guys from Washington get.
I have no idea. Tuesday is a long time away. I feel like we're going by the 50-50 rule. Basically, you just need 2 consecutive negative tests if you've had 2 shots. God, Washington's got 21 guys out. I would say if 10 of them come back, it gets down to that 7 range. And if all the important ones get back, I think it probably settles around 6. I don't know. There's so many guys out. It's impossible to say.
Is it a disadvantage for Philly? Yeah. But they're coming off a bye week, so yeah it's a quick turnaround, but they're certainly familiar. We have the Giants next week. They're familiar with the Giants. It's at Philly, so yeah, it's a disadvantage, but it's not enormous.
That's a good point. They just played the Giants 2 weeks ago too, so.
Yeah, I don't even really know what to say about this game, assuming it's going to be Tuesday. Who's going to play, who's not going to play?
Yeah, the most important, obviously, quarterback's a big deal. Heineke testing positive yesterday or whatever the hell it was. To me, more importantly, I think 9 starters are on the COVID list on defense.
Yeah.
That is just a killer. So if it stays under 7 or if it gets back to 7, I really like Philadelphia. I just think they have a good matchup here. If it's in between that 8 and 12 range, it would be totally dependent on who the hell's playing.
Be very careful. The last time the Eagles played on a Tuesday, they lost to Joe Webb.
I forgot about Joe Webb. Guy was fast.
We'll move on to another game. Dallas heads to the Meadowlands for the Giants. They are a 10.5-point favorite. Looking at the standings, a Dallas win would almost clinch the NFC East.
I don't know what to make of this Dallas team. They looked really good for 3 quarters against Washington. Their defense played lights out. They got a ton of pressure on Heineke. Parsons is just really good. It would be very curious to see where he would go in a redraft of last year's draft. But Their D line played really good. There were some throws to be had. Heineke missed a ton of open shots. McLaurin was open on the sideline for a wide open touchdown. He missed Sims over the middle for a big chunk gain. So I'm still not. I don't think this is what their defense really is, and their offense is just. I don't know how to describe it. It's weird. It's explosive play, and then it's just dumb penalty or a classic Dakota Prescott mistake, like you saw with the Cole Holcomb pick six. I don't know. It seems like a lot of points to give on the road to a Giants team where the defense has actually been playing pretty well.
Yeah, something doesn't seem right with Prescott. He looked pretty good early on, where it's almost the complete opposite. I thought he would struggle early trying to come back from the injury, and it's really flip flopped. He looked good early, and now something's missing. And
Yeah, I don't
maybe
know what
it's
it is.
maybe it's the lack of running game. Zeke's a shell of himself. Pollard's banged
Yeah.
up. I don't know, but something's definitely missing.
I have a theory, actually, on what the problem is. What if Mike McCarthy is just a huge buffoon, and that's the entire problem?
That is probably very likely.
All right, okay. I just wanted to check my theory out to see where we're at.
I agree with you. I would lean Giants here. Titans in Pittsburgh. Yesterday, Titans were 1.5 point favorites. It is now a pick.
Um, Pittsburgh's defense has been really bad. Looking at some of the numbers, their back end has just gotten shredded over the last 6 weeks. Big Ben, it seems like it kind of depends on how he feels that day, how he plays. Yeah, it's a little scary back in Pittsburgh, but I like them this week in a spot that Tomlin has been historically good at. And it's more of a fade of the Titans. Without Henry, I think they've looked pretty bad. Their defense is still pretty good. So that's my a little bit of hesitation is Ben versus that D line. But they haven't scored more than 20 points since Henry went down. So I'm going to lean Steelers here.
Quick note: Albert Breer just tweeted that Washington has been told Tuesday. So
Okay.
it appears that that's
Official. What a week! Get your paid time off in this week.
yeah. I agree with you on Pittsburgh. I think Tomlin will have them ready. Tennessee has not looked good since Henry's gone down, and I think Pittsburgh puts in a good effort and gets the win and has an outside shot at the playoffs.
Where are you with Mike Vrabel as a head coach kind of ranking? I know you were more on him than I was last year. I think I've come around to where he's actually a pretty damn good coach.
Yeah, I still think he's good. I think Tennessee misses Arthur Brown a little bit, the coach now in Atlanta, from the
Arthur
offensive
Smith.
side. Arthur Smith, yes, Arthur Smith.
I agree.
I don't know what to think of Tannehill. That's my issue. Is he good, or are they maximizing his talent right now?
Well, I don't think it helps that A.J. Brown hasn't played A, well this year, and B, hasn't been on the field consistently because he's been banged up. And B, Julio Jones has been just an absolute complete bust of a free agent signing. So I don't really know what he has to work with outside of when Henry was healthy. That would be my kind of wait and see with Tannehill.
Yeah. I agree, so I would lean Steelers here. In Miami, they host the Jets. They are 10-point favorites, 9.5 in some books.
I saw that Myles Gaskin got cleared off the COVID list this morning. One other one, I can't remember who the other guy was off the top of my head. But anyway, I think that's a pretty good get back. I think he's got a little bit of game, really take some of the pressure off Tua. He can catch the ball in the backfield, so I like that addition back. I actually lean Miami here. Shockingly, not going to touch the Jets as an underdog again. I think Miami's, playing a little bit better. I think they got some hope to make the playoffs here. I think this could be one of those blowout games where the Jets finally give up. I'm
with you. I like this Miami team. I I see them similar to the Colts, that they're just a team that you don't want to see in the first round. They're physical. Tua, obviously, I don't know what to make of him. He's looked bad. He's looked good. I don't
He's been
know.
pretty good for the last month. His completion percentage is shockingly high.
The one concern, I thought I saw that Jalen Waddle was on the COVID list, who's been really good the past couple weeks.
He is on the COVID list.
I don't.
And I don't know how much time he has.
I don't see the Jets scoring a ton of points. So if Miami can put some points on the board, I think they're the side in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Moving along, staying in Florida. Urban Meyerless, Jacksonville Jaguars are 4-point favorites against the Houston Texans.
So this line came out Monday. I think it was like 2.5 or something. I had the Texans circle. I was like, oh man, I love the Texans this week. And now I think I really like the Jaguars. I think the players are going to make a huge freaking statement this week to stick it to Urban Meyer. It seems like no one liked him in the building, and I think he might see the Jags just like play a good game finally.
I was hoping you said you liked Houston so that we didn't have to do this, but I'm also on Jacksonville. I agree with everything you said. This is going to be, we're going to go play hard this week to show everybody that Urban Meyer was a prick.
Yeah, I feel like we just ate a batch of mushrooms making this pick. But, okay, I mean, I think it's the right side by, I just feel really good about it, actually. Like, I think it's one of my favorite picks of the week.
Jaguars official.
I mean, yeah, with the asterisk subject to change to the COVID, but I totally agree. I think this is a huge fuck you to Urban Meyer game.
I'm with you. Arizona heads to Detroit off their Monday night loss. They are 13-point favorites.
This is right in the wheelhouse, baby. We get the Lions. We loved Denver. I loved Denver last week. I know you like them too. The Lions off their first win, going to Mile High, just got drubbed. I think they, celebrating the win, hangover. Now they're back in Detroit. Calm down. They have no incentive to win, don't get me wrong. But this is a great sandwich spot versus Arizona. Arizona's got a big divisional game next week. I like Detroit here. I think this is a game where you see Arizona kind of just lackadaisical and going through the motions.
Very good call on Arizona. Arizona's got Indy next week at home.
Indy, sorry, not good.
But yeah, sandwich spot in between the Rams and Indy. I don't know if I can get there with Detroit for the game, but I think first half, which is probably somewhere around 7 or 7.5, I do think they come out very sluggish early.
That's fair.
But yeah, Detroit, if you're doing anything, it's definitely Detroit. Buffalo, 10.5-point favorites at home against Carolina.
I don't know what to think in this game.
Is it going to be Cam or is it Darnold?
I saw that Darnold was activated, but I haven't seen a starter announced. I kind of have a feeling it's going to be Darnold. Doesn't really change anything for me. I don't know. I think I like Buffalo, but it's a lot of freaking points.
This one, they played New England 2 weeks ago in the windstorm, Tampa last week, Carolina this week, and then at New England next week. So this could be another one like that Lions game, but at least they're home. This is one that I probably don't want to touch.
I have no interest in either side of this game. Just Buffalo kind of needs to win this game, though.
Oh, absolutely. They still have a chance, outside chance at the division with a win and a New England loss, and then going to New England next week. So
right, they can't really fall asleep this week. They don't really have that luxury like Arizona does.
Denver at home, 3-point favorites against the Bengals.
I am probably going to surprise you here because I've liked the Bengals. I like Denver here. I wish we could get this under 3 because I think this is going to be a close game. I think it's a tough spot for Cincinnati. Very physical, overtime game. against San Francisco, and that's coming off of a wild game against the Chargers. And I know they need to win this game for divisional purposes, but Denver's right there too. Denver needs to win this game. I like Denver's defense in this game, particularly in the secondary. I think this could be a wild one. Only hesitation is Javonte Williams popped up on the injury report with knee soreness. It doesn't sound major, but if he's not playing, I don't like it as much.
I'm with you. The one hesitation I do have is the Broncos are 25th against the run. So Mixon could have a day, but I'm with you. I think physical game last week against San Fran, and I was impressed. Cincinnati really hung in there and showed me a lot. Probably should have won the game. And but I do like Denver in this spot as well.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. I love the Cincinnati team, and I think you said this last week. Just a year early, I think it's a tough spot for them.
49ers 9-point favorites at home against the Falcons.
Kind of like the Bills-Carolina game. I'm probably not going to be anywhere near this. You know, it seems like a lot of points for a Falcons team that has been a little bit better the last 4 or 5 weeks, but I think this is just a bad matchup for Atlanta. I think Matt Ryan not being able to move at all is a tough one against Bosa, he was unbelievable last week against Cincinnati. So I think this is a tough one for Atlanta matchup-wise, but 9.5 is a lot.
Yeah, I'm on the Falcons in this game. I think the Niners win a close one, but I just think we're due for one of those Kyle Shanahan head scratching Jimmy G good type games.
That's totally fair. Yep. Kyle Pitts should have a good game here. San Francisco secondary is still banged up, so that's totally fair.
This game may be moved to Tuesday. Rams 4-point favorites home against Seattle.
I am sort of surprised at this line. I'm assuming it's because of all the COVID stuff. God, I just don't think Seattle's very good. That said, I have no idea where to go here. You've been better with the Rams than I've been. I just don't have a feel for them at all.
Yeah, the line definitely screams Seattle's the play, but as you said, Russell had a good game last week, but I don't know. I can't back this Seattle team.
Seattle also dealing with COVID issues. Lockett on the list. Metcalf hasn't practiced all week. Now, he hasn't practiced a bunch at all this year. But their third and fourth string receivers or rotation guys are both might be out too. So I don't know what they're going to do with receiver. Rashad Penny looks like he's going to start a running back. So they're banged up too.
This is probably a stay away game, especially since it's not going to be the only Tuesday game.
I was just about to say, if it was the only game on Tuesday, you have to do something on it, right? Just because it's freaking Tuesday. But yeah, since we have other options, no way.
Packers 5.5. Looks like it's climbed to 6.5 in some spots against the Ravens in Baltimore. Lamar questionable.
I'm assuming that line is going up because of the Lamar unknownness, if you will, with that ankle injury, not practicing again. You know what? I don't think it really kills him. Tyler Huntley looked really good not really good, but looked perfectly acceptable against Chicago, in Chicago, getting that win. So, call me crazy, and I never liked to back them. I kind of like Baltimore here. It seems like a lazy spot for Green Bay. The line just is like begging you to take Green Bay under a touchdown on the road against a team that's been on national TV, not scoring a whole lot of points lately. I don't know. I like Baltimore.
My only hesitation is the injuries for Baltimore. They have so many. This line definitely is a Baltimore line, but I just think they have so many injuries against a very good Green Bay team.
If there's one guy that's really good at kind of taking the air out of the ball and knowing not when to push in games like this and knowing how to win kind of like 23-17, it's Aaron Rodgers. I think it's going to be one of those games where he knows he's in control, but he doesn't really step on the pedal.
Yeah, that's how I see it as well. But
Scary.
23-17 does seem like a score. The score. But it never will seem that Green Bay is going to lose the game.
If the way that this line is moving, there's nowhere else for it really to go except for 7. I don't know if you get the 7, but there's no difference. I don't think there's a hurt in waiting for that.
I mean, can you see the Ravens outright?
I mean, not this late in the year with this Packers team. I think this Packers team is really good. If this was week 4, this is the game that the Packers would lose, and everyone would wonder what's wrong with Green Bay, right?
I would like a Green Bay Dolphins tease.
Sure, I like that. Sure. I don't think Baltimore can win, but yeah, I like Baltimore plus 7 if it's available, but Green Bay and a tease. If that makes sense.
We'll wait to see what the status is on guys with the way things are going. Tampa home to the Saints. 10.5-point favorites. It appears Sean Payton will not coach in this game.
Which is, I think, is a huge deal. He's kind of the one coach, outside of Belichick and Andy Reid that I think is super important to their team's success. Almost tenfold with Taysom Hill at quarterback. I was going to like the Saints here, but with that news, now I'm sort of backing away. I like the Saints. I just love how their defense matches up with Brady, and I thought Taysom could kind of control the clock, but God, it's a little scary. He seems like a little kid, and Peyton's his dad.
Can they throw it enough to have success against Tampa defense?
No, probably not. No, definitely probably not. But Tampa's defense the last 3 games, so all other games they average only giving up 80 yards on the ground per game. Last 3 games they've averaged giving up 125. So not been good the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it does. They're in contention for the 1 seed, so take it with a grain.
Right.
But
sure.
it does seem like something's off right now with Tampa.
Their defense is banged up. I know they've been missing some guys, particularly in the secondary, but they've had guys at linebacker in and out. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But definitely the last couple of weeks, I think their defense has shown a little bit of weakness.
Offensively, I know Antonio Brown's out, and it seemed like him and Brady were clicking.
Yes, I think that's a huge deal.
And maybe that's what it is. And I never felt like they weren't in control of scoring on Buffalo, but it just didn't. It seemed like they had to work.
Yeah, I mean Fournette's had a really good year, but I think you saw it in the playoffs, especially last year. It's just a different rhythm Brady gets into when he has a little bit of a running game. Fournette was really good in the playoffs last year, but he has an underneath guy that he trusts in the middle of the field. And now Gronk's still there, but he's not what he used to be. Brown is that guy in the middle of the field that Brady can trust.
Yeah, we saw it how many years with Welker and Amendola and Edelman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good call on Antonio Brown. And Vikings-Bears Monday night in Chicago. Right now, Minnesota 5.5-point favorites.
This line's it's crept up a little too much for me. When it opened at 3.5, I actually liked Minnesota. I think that this is a must-win game for them to have any chance, and I just like the matchup for Chicago for them. Chicago mainly because Chicago's offense just stinks. I think Zimmer's really good at stopping that kind of offense. But 5.5, it's sort of drifted into no man's land for me.
Yeah, it's. I am surprised it's moved this much, unless there's news that with somebody being
I
out.
haven't seen anything.
Yeah, this seemed like one of the more quieter COVID type games. I'm with you though. I did like Minnesota early in the week, but I don't understand the 2-point move.
Yeah, and Minnesota's a team that maybe the number 1 team, absolutely petrifying to have in any money line parlay or teaser. So that's not even an option for me.
So we have 2 officials, Colts and Jags. And then we lean Browns if Keenum's playing, Giants, Steelers, Broncos, possibly a Green Bay, Miami tease, and question mark with this Vikings game.
To follow up, what was the Steelers' official line? I think I'm good with that being official if you are.
It's a pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with that. I like the Steelers.
Steelers becomes an official, so Colts, Jags, Steelers at the moment.
I like that. Love those three.
Joe Public, be very careful this week on your big favorites.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting after the bloodbath last week that Vegas took. The lines to me this week are just fascinating.
They're going to be feeling really good about themselves, and they're walking into a Lions cage this week.
And Vegas has extended the week for themselves to enjoy it, do it all the way through Tuesday. Early Christmas for the books.
A lot of Joe's going to be in a bad mood when they wake up on Christmas.
A lot of kids with shortening present piles under the tree come Wednesday morning.
Fantastic job by you. We'll be back midweek next week before the holiday.
Yeah, golf clap to the host. Enjoy the games. Enjoy Tiger and his son being back. Didn't think we'd see it, but there it is.
There, you're right. Talk to you soon.